guys have been like in having the hot weather in the UK lately, all of Europe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not as hot as it's been where you are, but it's hot enough for us.
No, we always think it's so cute when you all complain about the heat, actually.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Well, welcome everybody to today's episode of You, Me, and ICED, a branch of Free Talk with Mr. B. And this is actually, if you see behind me there, Free Talk with Dedra L Stevenson too. So how's everybody today? Hopefully you're all well. Yeah,
Yeah, good.
doing great. Ready to talk about creative writing.
Ooh.
And that here we have this, in case you all don't know already, there's Mr. B, our producer and panelist, and the author of The Art of Giving Back, and a great science fiction writer, Richard Dee. His name is actually Richard Dockett, but his pen name is Richard Dee. And he has how many novels now?
18.
18. No
Yeah.
way. That's incredible.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I don't really know how it happened.
Inspiration to me. You really are.
Oh dear.
I hope to get up to 18 one day. I have a new one coming soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Topic. Oh, thank you. Yeah, he was actually a beta reader on the new novel that I have coming up. So according to Richard, it's going to be a good one.
It's very good.
I hope everyone will agree.
Very good.
So today we're going to be talking about creative writing and its benefits to the imagination, and also cognitive benefits. And, one thing I thought of starting out with is you, Richard, you said in a previous episode that you got up in the morning and wrote 3-4 pages every day as soon as you wake up. Do you feel like that helps you, in terms of cognitive abilities?
I think so. I think it starts to stretch your mind. Initially, I just wrote, and I didn't really look at what I was writing. It was just a stream of words that was coming out, and then after a while, I started to try and look through it. And if I could decipher some of it, I saw that there were strands and threads there that perhaps you could use for something else.
Yeah. Did you ever use some of those in your novels? Your 18 novels?
Bits and pieces. Yeah. My first novel was based on a repetitive dream that I had. And it made me realize that you only needed one thought. And if you started thinking about it and just seeing what could come from it, you could actually take it in a whole lot of different directions. That initial thought has now provided me with 3 novels, some short stories, and of course a couple of spin-offs as well. So just from just one thought, from one idea, it's surprising how far you can actually go with it.
I love that. I'm getting the image of a seedling, that sort of sprouts up from the ground and just sort of branches out, into different, directions. And before you know it, you've got trees, and that tree makes seedlings as well. And it goes on and on and on to a forest, right? That's the beauty of the imagination and getting that on paper.
Have minor characters that you suddenly realize there's a lot more to them than just a minor part in one story, and you can give them a story of their own, and then that develops and has a sequel, and then someone else comes along, and before you know it, you've got a universe populated with people that have just come from one idea.
It's a wonderful feeling to create a whole literary universe, isn't it? I know a little. The only experience I have with that so far is the Hakima's Tale, but it's very much a very similar experience that I had. I think I started with a dream as well, and it started as one thought, that we don't have enough of these kinds of stories of heroes from Middle Eastern folklore, that battle the supernatural and battle evil. It's always the Catholic priests with their their incense and their verses in Latin and everything, and they're the ones that are doing the exorcisms and that sort of thing. I'm like, why do they get to have all the fun? I mean, someone else can do that too. So I thought of let me try and give it a go, and it was just for fun. In the beginning, it was literally just a hobby, but it
Yeah.
became something more the more I played with it, and the more I just wrote pages just for my own amusement. It
Yeah.
turned into 3 books.
It's nice if you can flip it as well and take something that appears ordinary and then suddenly introduce a twist that suddenly gets people thinking, and perhaps it inspires them as well into looking at things in a different way.
That's so true. What about you, Mr. B? Do you write in general? Do you keep a diary? I mean, you must have done something to come up with your ideas for the art of giving back. You were scribbling down bits and pieces here and
Well,
there.
I am more like the general population. We tend to not write anything down, but we have a lot in our heads. And so my thought was, yes, we creative write in our heads, and we sometimes are reluctant to get it out of our heads because we think, oh, maybe I'm dyslexic and I can't write. Maybe the thoughts will come out backwards. And I think you used that word last time in one of our episodes. And I was like, if there's a hindrance on creative writing, today's technology must give us something that helps us.
Right.
And so just like this podcast, we can turn everything into words, but we didn't write it out. We're just freelancing. We're just speaking off the cuff, right?
Exactly.
And so
that's
it's
what's nice about us.
creative. It's very
Anything can come
creative.
out.
Yeah.
You know?
And of course now you can dictate on your phone, and certainly that'll transcribe it into words. And if you've got a story to tell, well, just tell it to your phone and then it'll write it out for you.
And so that's what I was getting to. When I wrote my book, The Art of Giving Back, it was very fast because I finished it all in 5 months. So I wrote The Art of Giving Back because I wanted to set a deadline and get it out. With it, like Richard said, I use my phone. I just resisted sitting down and writing anything on paper or using a keyboard or any of those things. And that's my claim to fame and my recommendation for everyone. You have something fabulous or miraculous in your head. Get your phone out and start talking to your phone in the dictation mode. Almost every phone has that function. And just record it. And for some things, I had to do some interviews with my uncle because I was not sure between the ages of 1 and 9 what was really going on. My head was kind of not there. And so I interviewed him and recorded it and let him know I was recording it. And then I went back and transcribed everything we talked about. And so creatively, I think our listeners may think, oh my gosh, I have these ideas, but I don't know how to do it, or I can't do it, or it's too time consuming, and all of the excuses we already came up with on our own. So I'm thinking that if we can encourage them to speak to their phone, they might even be people who will transcribe it for them. Or in the way Richard mentioned, when you're speaking to it, if you practice the Hey Siri or practice the speech conversion, you just take your time and you just have minor corrections. It really captures your voice and your words accurately.
Well, I can tell you a little bit of advice from my side. I do occasionally writing workshops for children in various schools here in the United Arab Emirates. And one exercise that I do with them is sort of a meditation exercise. I ask them to close their eyes and imagine that they're on a grassy knoll with a beautiful brook, just flowing by, water is flowing, but then suddenly there's these bits and pieces that fall into the water. There's rocks that clog up the water flow, there's branches, there's even somebody who's dumped their garbage in your water, and suddenly it's blocked. I'm like, okay, now how do you feel right now? Oh, stressed. I don't like it. It feels bad, and I'm like, well, imagine that those bits and pieces that are in your water right now are criticism. They're what other people think. They're worrying that you're going to make grammar mistakes, spelling mistakes. They're worrying what other people, what the world will think of your story. So what you need to do is clean your river right now. Just take it all out. Imagine that you're cleaning it up. You're throwing those things out. You're in there with your rain boots on and you're scooping it out of your river. And now sit back down on your river again and hear the birds chirping and feel the cool breeze on your face and know that there's nothing there to block the flow of the water. And that's how you have to feel when you're writing. Don't worry what people think. It's all for you at the end of the day, isn't it? It's for your own comfort, and they like that, and it's I think cognitively that does something for us all, that freedom, that feeling of freedom to just write what you want, write what's in your head, write what's in your heart, no matter what it is, even if it sounds silly. Because like Richard said, you don't know when you're going to get 16 novels out of that. You never know where that stuff will go.
That's very true. I was stuck waiting for an appointment about 4 years ago, and I couldn't dictate, but I had an idea. So I started writing myself a text message on the phone with my thumb, and I actually wrote most of a short story while I was sitting there waiting. I was waiting for an hour.
Yeah.
And my thumb hasn't been the same since, to be honest. but yeah, if you've got the chance and you've got an idea, then you should just go for it.
Right.
And as you say, Dedra, it doesn't matter what other people think of it, because there will be someone somewhere that will like it. You just have to find them.
And so that right there is what I like, because some people ask me about these podcasts and they ask me about giving back on what I do. And they say, how come you only have so few followers? Let's say if I had 500 to call it a few. So I was thinking, like what you said, Richard, in this case, I was looking for one. Yeah. And I was interested in helping one, and I was interested in giving back to one. And I thought if I can get one person to help along my way, I was very satisfied. And so, yeah, everyone does not have to like it, because everyone doesn't like rice. Everyone doesn't like chicken.
Exactly.
So
and some people are so bored that all they do is criticize anyway. So don't worry about it.
And we need that. We need some good critics, because it makes more of our creativity come out. Right?
True. So sometimes you're so challenged by what a critic has to say that you become just determined, really determined to prove them wrong. Like,
so some of my
what
family,
I do now, buddy.
In my case, some of my family members or some distant relatives were not very interested in me writing a book. And there was a song back in the day, I'm always into song, where you're so vain, I bet you think this song is about you.
Yeah,
you remember that song,
actually. Yeah. Again, so we're showing our ages by knowing that song.
Well, the idea is this book is not about you or the creativity in your writing. The biggest fan should be yourself. The biggest joy should be yours. And if others enjoy it, one more person plus, fine. But the biggest joy comes from this wonderful feeling, the wonderful healing that makes you, in my age case, and I'm 60, I needed something to do, so I'm podcasting. Richard needed something, so he's writing his books and novels and dreaming and writing. And Dedra,
I needed something to do.
You have to have something to fulfill ourselves, because we raise our children, we went through our lives, we passed those 40-year marriage marks and all those type of things. And a mission accomplishment, creativity and creative writing, it's very, very nice. And I'm so glad I don't have to use those old typewriters or my keyboard. I can open my phone and I write a lot of stuff just to myself that I don't always share.
Well, I think that's part of the writing environment too. That's another thing that I often speak of in writing workshops, is that writing environment isn't just the place that you sit down and enjoy. I mean, posted a beautiful, garden where he likes to sit and write lately, right? That table, the little area that you go for writing, and that was just lovely. But it doesn't have to be just one type of environment. And it's not just the place, but it's the things around you, like a typewriter. Maybe some people enjoy those old clackety typewriters, or they enjoy writing directly to a laptop or a phone, or, for me, look here, this is what I like. Little girly pens. I love the ones with the poofy, pom-poms on them, and paper. I like to write down ideas on that. And
with a little iced tea on the side, right?
Oh, with some iced tea on the side always. I mean, that's the house wine of the South, that. Right. So yeah, I mean, and the thing is, also, what I'd love for people to know more is that it's actually really good for us. It's healthy. I mean, we go to the gym 3-4 times a week to exercise our bodies, but what about the exercise for your brain? I mean, creative writing is actually a good workout. It is incredibly.
It is known, yeah. It's known to have benefits to keep your mind active and to keep you busy, keep you thinking of something.
Absolutely.
I rehearse a lot of my scenes when I'm walking around the coast here. I walk along the cliff path, and if anyone saw me, they'd wonder what was going on, because I'm chattering away to myself. But actually, I'm rehearsing dialogue, or I'm creating environments, and I'm just sort of loving being out in nature, and it's helping me to think, and it's helping me clear my head and just get my thoughts down.
And
I love that.
Health benefits, Dedra, also stress relieving. Or
stress relieving. It helps you work through emotions as well. Sometimes things that you didn't even know you were facing. If you sometimes work out, say, stories involving characters that you just come up with, and you think that these characters are random until you actually go back and read, and you realize that these characters are people that that they have just been manifested, through your creative process, and you're working out an emotion or two that you had about them, or about a certain instance in your life, and these things have kind of, they found a way to weave themselves into your story, and sometimes in a way that surprises even you.
But there are so many things in the art of giving back. I'm not sure if you picked up on some of them but there was a lot of things I wanted to tell my mother, and realize how difficult her life was. And here I'm writing about it and all the things she went through. Yes, my siblings did not like what she wrote, but it was from my eyes and my perspective. But I do recall, while dictating into my phone, how much tears were coming down while I was doing it. And I'm feeling those butterflies in my stomach now as I bring it up. And I don't want to cry online right now. But yes, it's the healing process, and a level of catharsis, I was told, comes through, helps us, heals us. And whatever measure of creativity and creative writing we're performing, whether it's fictional characters or aspects of our life, or a lost love, or a spouse, or a mom or a dad or something, it's really good to get it out. It's really good to vent it out, to cry it out, to write it out, to speak into your phone and get it out. Even if you didn't publish it, it's just really, really, really good and important to do, I think.
Super healthy, so healthy for you emotionally. And like I said, it could be something so deep within you that you didn't realize you were holding on to it so long. A resentment or a hurt, something that was there for years that you didn't know why. I mean, when I was writing Desert Magnolia, I guess it's no secret to a lot of people that there's one character in there that is so pretty based on my grandmother, a grandmother of mine that passed. And, I do remember, as I was typing along, I type directly to the laptop when I write, and as the other part is for notes, the fun girly pen is for notes, but then I do sit down and sort of start writing story with the laptop. And I remember tears falling down on the laptop as I was writing about her funeral in the book, because I didn't get to go to her funeral in America. So I think in a way I got to experience her funeral in the story, the way I had wanted to. I mean, and the protagonist actually read her eulogy, and it was everything I had wanted to say. It was so it was wonderful for me to be able to have a way to express that to her.
Yeah.
Even though she's long gone from me, but maybe somehow she knows what I said.
But I think sometimes you can be writing and you realize that actually your characters are solving your problems for you. In the way that the scene's developing, you something that you perhaps haven't really been thinking about, something that's been on your mind, and suddenly your characters will be actually dealing with that same situation in the story you're writing, and they will come up with a solution, and they'll solve it in their way, and you actually realize that maybe that's applicable to me solving it in my life as well.
True. Or they could make you sometimes tougher, like stronger in the way that you handle people or handle problems, even a villain character, you're writing this gnarly villain, and you realize, hey, maybe there is a part of me that wants, to be a little stronger, tougher, a little more badass, when I deal with life, I should be more like Vlad, I mean, Vlad is my villain, and the Buchanan bastard, you guys are going to love him, by the way. Vlad the Impaler, not the original one, a mobster that is a great fan of Vlad the Impaler. Yeah.
Well, before we close out, or before we run out of time, I'd like to Rodney's coming back. Yeah, Rodney's coming back next week, and we really appreciate him.
We are missing Rodney. I'm so sad that Rodney wasn't here today.
To make it clear too that video games have a lot of creative writing in it. It's not just some icon jumping around. So there's a lot to it too, and a lot of creative writing. But my last message is kind of just do it, kind of get those emotions out, get those creative writing out, and don't be intimidated by the word creative writing, thinking you need to do so much cursive and penmanship things.
Right.
Just
and it
lay it out.
Doesn't always have to end up in a book.
Right.
That's what I'd like to say too. It's not necessary that you become some great author or something.
Right.
Sometimes you might want to do it just for your own pleasure. I mean, why do people learn other arts and crafts? Just because they would like to do it for fun. I mean, you learn pottery. It doesn't mean that you're going to open a pottery shop and sell your vases, as great works of art or anything. Oftentimes you just want to do it for your own fun, right? So creative writing can be the same.
What's a good final one for listeners, Richard?
I would say if you want to write something, just write it down. Write down whatever you feel like and just get it down on paper. You can always edit it later, but you can't edit a blank page.
That's true.
Okay, and start as simple as what it took you to make it to the grocery store or something.
just see where it goes. Just take an idea and run with it, and just see where you can go with it.
I like the idea of writing as soon as you wake up too, because it's known that we don't get to remember our dreams often, but in those first couple of minutes upon waking, you may actually have a shot at remembering something. From what you dreamt about. So your thoughts might be even more imaginative and the moments that you wake up. So that I would recommend highly as well.
And before we close, I would say I did not know that this writing creativity conversation would be so inspiring. So Dedra, thank you for these subjects.
Oh, you're most welcome.
As you close.
Yes, as I close off the subject. Well, I do feel that this was really fun and inspiring, and hopefully people watching, listening, or interacting on live Facebook right now, hopefully they, will go off and give it a try sometimes, and you can do this on your own, or you can, have a writing coach if you want, but you don't always need one, especially if you're just doing this for your own, personal fulfillment. But yeah, I mean, writing is good for you. It's like mental push-ups. You do push-ups for your body, you do sit-ups. I mean, it's no difference, we need to exercise this too. And creative writing is a wonderful, wonderful workout. Don't ever forget that. So I guess we'll wrap it up and see you guys next time on You, Me, and ICED. Don't miss it.
Thank you. See you guys then.
See you then.
Thanks,
Bye.
Richard.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.